It's time to make it, just give it a try. 'Cause you can make it like the old fat guy.
Thank you for watching another episode of You Can Make It with the Old Fat Guy. That's David Farrell, me. You are going to learn today how to make a great appetizer, and the only skill you have is to be able to cook a hamburger. If you can cook a hamburger, you can do an appetizer platter fit for a banquet. We're going to make something called summer sliders, which are nothing more than small little burgers, but we're going to fancy them up. We're going to start off by making some special sauces for our sliders. We're going to start with one called a tiger sauce. And a tiger sauce is just 25 milliliters or 2 tablespoons of mayonnaise, 5 milliliters or 1 teaspoon of horseradish, prepared horseradish, 1/2 clove of garlic minced up fine, and 2 milliliters of sriracha sauce. Just put them in a bowl and mix them up. For our second sauce, we're going to make homemade teriyaki sauce. Now, if you want to be lazy, you can go buy teriyaki sauce in the store, but it's easy to make, and I'm about to show you how. So you just need to get a pot, and in the pot, you're going to put 125 milliliters or 1/2 cup of soy sauce, and try not to spill it like I did. You're going to put in 75 milliliters or 1/3 cup of cooking sherry, and you're going to put in 50 milliliters or 1/4 cup of vegetable oil. Then you're going to add a 1/4 cup or 50 milliliters of sugar, 5 milliliters or a teaspoon of ground ginger, and 5 milliliters or 1 teaspoon of garlic powder. And just add them into the saucepan. And we'll just get a fork and mix those up. It's going to need cooking in a second, but we're going to get our third sauce ready to cook first, which is a Thai chili sauce. And I'm sorry, as much of a mess I am, I can't leave that. We'll just give it a wipe. For our Thai chili sauce, it's just about as easy to mix it up. Now what you're going to add is 125 milliliters of water, 75 milliliters or 1/3 cup of rice vinegar. You're going to add 125 milliliters or 1/2 cup of sugar. And you're going to put in 3 milliliters or 1/2 teaspoon of ginger, 5 milliliters or a teaspoon of ketchup, 5 milliliters or 1 teaspoon of finely chopped garlic, and the recipe calls for 5 milliliters of dried crushed chilies. I suggest you start with 3 and add more when you taste it. I like mine spicy, so I use 5 milliliters. Just put all the ingredients in the liquids. And once again, just give it a quick stir. Now we're just going to take these two last sauces, the Thai sweet chili sauce and the teriyaki sauce, over to the stove. We'll just cook these one at a time, and we'll start with the sweet Thai chili sauce. Just put it on a burner, put it on medium-high, and you want to bring it to a boil. There we go. Start to see the bubbles breaking on the surface. That's what you're looking for, and we'll turn the heat down to medium. Now, in this cup, I have 1.5 teaspoons or 8 milliliters of cornstarch and 2 teaspoons of cold water. Just mix them together to make a slurry. And you're going to add it to the boiling liquid. And you'll see that in a very few seconds, the sauce starts to get a little thicker. And you just want to start heating it until it gets a little bit more in the thickness of a sauce rather than just liquid. And I'll just just take a few seconds. Okay, and we're done, and we're just going to let that set aside and cool down while we do our teriyaki sauce, which we will now put over the burner and turn the heat back to high. Okay, the teriyaki sauce is boiling, so we'll just turn the heat back to medium. And again, this time I have 2 teaspoons of cornstarch and 2 teaspoons of water that I'm mixing into a slurry, and we'll pour in. And we'll just cook that till it starts to thicken up a bit. Just take a few seconds. And our sauces are done. And we'll just set them aside until we're ready to use them on our sliders. It's time to make our slider burgers, the little burgers we're going to put on it. Now you could just use ground beef, but why do that? Why not mix it up? So what I've done is I got 3/4 of a pound of ground beef and 3/4 of a pound of Italian sausage that I pulled out of the casings. This is 2/3 of the, or half a pound of the Italian sausage. This is half a pound of the ground beef, and then I mix together 1/4 of a pound each of the Italian sausage and the ground beef into a different mixture of mixed beef and sausage. So our guests are going to get a slider appetizer with 3 different kinds of meat in it. So we're just going to take each half-pound ball and cut it into 4 burgers. Now you want them to be small. It's an appetizer, not a burger. You can use it for an appetizer or a light lunch. Try and press them thin because they're going to shrink and thicken up. So this is the combination. And we'll just press them into 4 patties. Do not try and make them perfect. Then somebody think you bought them in a restaurant or frozen. Get them just pressed out into a nice roundish shape. And there's our 4 mixture of beef and Italian sausage. When they're all made up, we're just going to throw them in this fry pan here, which I have preheated to 350 degrees or medium high if you're doing it on an element. We just want to cook them through, so pressing them thinner helps with that too. My frying pan's at 350 degrees and I'm ready to throw my patties in. Now, for one of the sliders, I want to put a little bit of back bacon on it. So I just take 2 slices of back bacon and I cut them in half, and I'll just throw them in to brown up a little bit with the burgers. About 2.5–3 minutes aside because they're quite thin. I'm just going to get the sauces so I can put them on the appropriate sliders. I've chosen to put the sweet Thai chili ones on the mixed hamburger and pork because I think that'll be a good blend. And what we want to start by doing is just taking, while it's cooking, a teaspoon of the sauce and putting it over the top of each one. And for the straight sausage one, I'm going to put the teriyaki on it. These have been cooking for 6, 7, maybe 8 minutes. I've got my instant read thermometer. You just want to push it into the center and make sure it's over 165 degrees Fahrenheit. That way you know it's safe from E. coli and other bacteria. And just before you finish cooking it, give it 1 more spoonful of the teriyaki sauce on each of the teriyaki sauce ones, and the Thai sauce on each of the Thai ones. Now, we will take the teriyaki ones and we'll just put them 1 on each of the roll halves. And we'll put the pineapple on top of the teriyaki. Just a couple of pieces. All I did was take one ring of canned pineapple, cut it in quarters, and then cut each little quarter in half to make 4 thin pieces of pineapple. And there we have some teriyaki Italian sausage sliders. We'll just put the lids on. And we'll put them on a plate. That's our first slider appetizer. Now on those ones, we're going to put the sweet Thai chili ones. And they get the bacon because the sweet Thai chili is a little warm and the salty bacon helps cut the spicy nature of the Thai chili sauce. And we'll just put a lid on each one of those and put them on another serving plate, trying not to destroy the ones you've already made. And last but not least are our hamburger. There we go. Set the rolls out and put a hamburger patty on each one. And these need the tiger sauce on them. So we'll just take a nice table knife and we want a good layer of tiger sauce on each bun. Now tiger sauce is spicy too, just to warn you. Once you've got the tiger sauce on, you want a little bit of raw onion, just a few sprigs on each one, sliced very thin. And then they'll go in their serving plate. And now comes the best part of any of the videos I've done so far, because I get to try 3 things. I'm just going to take one, we'll start with the teriyaki, and I'm going to take a knife and cut it in half, just because I like to have smaller appetizers. So there's our slider. The spicy Italian sausage with the teriyaki sauce, which is sweet, and the sweet pineapple. It's just delicious. Nice, spicy, sweet balance. That's excellent. So now let's try the sweet Thai chili with the mixture. And again, you can see, nice little burger. And we've got the bacon. A little milder with the mixture of the beef and the sausage, the salty bacon, the sweet Thai chili, but just that heat from the Thai chili really makes that one. And our last one is the plain old hamburger with tiger sauce. And you can see, nice little burger in there. Just like a hamburger, with that little burn from the tiger sauce. I really like this. So the next time you're having friends over and you want to make something fancy, all you have to be able to do is cook a burger and you can make Great sliders like this.
In this episode, David made summer sliders with 3 different sauces. The ingredients for this recipe are 12 dinner rolls, 330 grams of ground beef, 330 grams of Italian sausage with casings removed, 2 slices of back bacon cut in half, 1 slice of pineapple cut into quarters, 4 slices of onion, 25 milliliters of tiger sauce, 25 milliliters of teriyaki sauce, and 25 milliliters of sweet Thai chili sauce. For the complete recipe, visit David's blog at oldfatguy.ca. As always, you can make it. It's time to make it. Just give it a try. 'Cause you can make it like the old fat guy.
Really happy you came by to watch another episode of You Can Make It with the Old Fat Guy. That's me, David Farrell. Today we're going to make a classic pork dish, pulled pork. Who doesn't love a pulled pork sandwich? Nobody that I know. So we're going to make some pulled pork. You want to start with what they call a piece of pork butt or pork shoulder, which has a lot of fat, you'll notice, all the way through it. And you want to trim a lot of the really thick fat off of the outside of it because you don't need much, just some to keep it moist. But once you've got the fat trimmed off, it looks something like this. This is about 2.5 pounds. Now, if it has skin on it, you have to cut it off before you do this or the rub won't get through the skin. I've made up a very basic barbecue rub of 15 milliliters or 1 tablespoon of brown sugar, 15 milliliters or 1 tablespoon of paprika, 5 milliliters or 1 teaspoon of salt, and 1 milliliter or 1/4 teaspoon of cayenne. You could also buy a commercial rub or make your own. This is just a basic one I like to use. You want to rub a good generous layer of the rub all over the surface of the pork. So we'll just get in there and have at her. You want it to have a nice red color on all surfaces. It's not important you rub it in. You just got to rub it enough until it's sticking. And you will make a mess and get it all over the counter. And shh, don't tell my wife. I got to clean up before she sees it. And try and get the edges too. Because what you're doing is you're developing what the real pork experts like. It's called bark. And that comes from the rub mixing with the outside of the meat with heat. So we'll just get the last of the edges. There we go. It's got a nice layer. It's got a nice red color on all the fatty pieces. And I'm going to take this to the fridge where I'm going to let it sit for 4 hours to overnight before I put it on the smoker. My pork has sat in the fridge for 4 hours. The reason you want it to sit for at least 4 hours or up to overnight is it lets the surface of the pork dry. And if the surface of the pork is dry, it develops a better, hard, good tasting crust when you cook it. So all I have to do now is take this out and put it in my smoker. You could also do it in an oven, but a smoker gives you a better taste. The pork's been in the smoker for about 7 hours, and I've cooked it to an internal temperature of around 200 degrees Fahrenheit. But the real test to make sure it's done is, does a skewer go in very easily just like that? And this does. So I believe that piece of pork is done. So we'll just take my temperature thermometer out of it and put the pork on a plate to take it inside. We've brought our pulled pork in from the smoker, and now it's got to rest for about 30 minutes. I like to tent it in some foil. I just find it helps keep the moisture in. We'll just put that over it. And now do nothing to it for 30 minutes. The pork's rested for half an hour, so we'll just take the foil off of it and we'll put it on our cutting board. Any bones should pull right out just like that. Now, you're going to use a fork to pull the meat apart. Just shred it, just like that. Pull the bone out. And you'll notice the nice red colors because I did it in a smoker. If you don't have a smoker, you can do this dish by putting it on the barbecue and just lighting one of the burners really, really low to keep it between 220 and 275 degrees. You'll get a nice slow cooked pulled pork, but it won't have this red color to it because it won't have as much smoke. You can also do it in a 230 degree oven on a rack over a tray. Now that we've got all the pork pulled off of the fat and it's on the plate, you could go ahead and just eat it exactly like this. And it is, believe me, absolutely delicious. But I find pork is better with something called a finishing sauce. So I'm just going to put the pork in a large bowl. And I'm going to mix up a finishing sauce. Now, finishing sauces are generally based on vinegar, something to sweet it, and a little bit of spice. What I have in this cup is a teaspoon and a half or 8 milliliters of maple syrup. In this cup, I have 25 milliliters or 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar. Just pour that in there. Then you're going to add 1/8 of a teaspoon of pepper and a large pinch of cayenne to the mixture. And we'll just mix that up a little bit. And that is a finishing sauce. Now, I can't tell you exactly how much finishing sauce to use. You've got to go by taste because pork has different sweetnesses depending on the cut of pork you have. So I'm just going to put about a couple of tablespoons on to start with, and then we'll mix it up. And then you have to taste it to see if it's just right. Just a touch more. So let's try our finished product of pulled pork. Now we'll just take a little bit of the pulled pork out and put it on a plate. Make sure you get some of that dark bark because it's some of the best flavor. And try it. That is tender, moist pork. The bark has a real nice salty to it from the rub. The vinegar and the touch of sweet and the spices just give it that little zing of flavor that really clean up the fatty flavor of the pork. This is a great pulled pork just as it is or for sandwiches, and you can make it.
In this recipe, David prepared pulled pork on the smoker with a finishing sauce. The ingredients are approximately 1 kilogram of pork shoulder with the skin removed, 25 milliliters of cider vinegar, 8 milliliters of maple syrup, half a milliliter of black pepper, and 1 pinch of cayenne. The finishing sauce is added to the pork after it is cooked and pulled. For the complete recipe, visit David's blog at oldfatguy.ca. And remember, you can make it.